Welcome to the final episode of Revenge of the Fallen Randomness. This one is probably not going to surprise people. So Transformers has had its share of controversies. Some are more agreed upon, like say, I don't know. Then there's things like YouTube controversies, and nope, I'm not touching that. And there's also things like Dreamwave. Fuck you, Pat Lee. But I don't think there's been anything more divisive in recent years, with the fact that people were realizing they liked the Bayverse in the past 3 or 4 years, than this. Yeah, skids and mudflap are some of the most controversial topics in the fandom, and they have been for some time. People often say they're annoying, ugly, racist, annoying, insensitive, and stereotypical. And you know what? After a recent watch of Revenge of the Fallen, I don't really see it. Yeah, there are parts where I do consider them pretty annoying, and there are a couple things that might make them stereotypical, but overall, I don't really see it. And in fact, I think they would have been better off if they had just stayed in their ice cream truck mode. Which is what we're talking about today. Today, we talk about the Ice Cream Twins. The strangest toy in this line, and probably the most talked about toy of this line. Well, maybe the second most talked about. In vehicle mode, these two idiots are a rat rod of an ice cream truck. I know it's a rat rod because the headlights and fenders come off a 1930s Dodge. The rest of the vehicle mode was entirely fabricated for the movie, which is why the real-life counterpart has a bunch of weld marks on it. Not to be confused with the rust marks, because boy howdy, there's a lot of it here. The rust is very prominent on the front of the truck right here, especially on the fenders. There's also some rust that's been nicely airbrushed onto the front, and there's some that looks dry brushed underneath the bullhorn and the ice cream cone light. Now with all this detail, I can hear you saying, this doesn't look like the original release, and you're right, it's not. This is the third version that has a darker magenta color, accurate ice cream cone, and caution children, and the rust that is well applied. It's also a hump for the Decepticons release, but it's still an ROTF mold, so technicality. I have a standard release sealed in the box, and you can tell they are just vastly different side by side. I also have them loose, but I want to bring them up later in robot mode because Mudflap's missing a few pieces. But all the other fancy details are courtesy of Toy Hacks. Yes, they actually made a repro label set for these guys. It comes with 2 sheets, and you actually get quite a bit of variety with the second one. You've got various graphics of ice cream that you can put into the windows up here. Same for the other side, except I threw an Autobot logo in to make it asymmetrical. You also get a couple bumper stickers, a selection of license plates, a few inside jokes, and the reason everybody bought this set.
Suck my popsicle!
That's the reason I picked this version to put the stickers on, because I think that's the closest you're going to get to movie accuracy, short of, I don't know, customizing the figure. As for features, they roll pretty good. I suppose this counts too. You could go ahead and just split them apart like you're going to transform them, and then they can do the whole falling apart thing. I mean, that's pretty cool. You can recreate the alley scene that's from the movie. Now all I need is the sideways they're supposed to come with, and then run it through a building. Complete accuracy will be mine. David, transformation. The transformation of these two are definitely of the Scout class variety at the time. A lot of small hinges and ball joints spinning around to rip panels out of the way and expose small robots. They seem like they could be fiddly, but they aren't. Not really, anyway. The only thing I would consider fiddly would be Skids' arms. They like to pop off the ball joints while you're doing it, but outside of that, they're just fine. Mudflap, on the other hand, is more involved, but he seems to be a bit more solid in his transformation construction. But overall, these two are not the worst transformations in this line. In robot mode, these two are looking pretty accurate, with Skids' chest being formed from the grill, and Mudflap basically wearing all of his parts as a jacket and forming his tits. Now that being said, they aren't perfect. I mean, they are Skids and Mudflap, so their heads look like a mutated chihuahua, and well, I don't even know what to call this. Between the two, Mudflap definitely has most of the kibble. Like I said, he wears it as a jacket. But that doesn't stop Skids from having a backpack and not being able to fucking stand up. And his tiny ass feet don't help with that either. Now, detailing wise, it's a little bit different, even though the colors are the same. Skids has some nice molding on his legs, while Mudflap just has the entire back of the truck on his chest. That's cheating. Another thing that's got some greeblies on it is their pelvis, but I'm not talking about crotch detail. They also have those asymmetrical Doomfist hands that they're so well known for, and I am still convinced that this is a result of the experimentation done by Flatline. As for the repro labels, they all end up on Mudflap, and we've already talked about them, so yeah. As for features, well, we've got nothing. They've got no gimmicks and no accessories, which I can only explain because they're scout scale. I mean, look at this. They would fit right in on a shelf with the Revenge of the Fallen scouts. They're dead ringers. And this isn't me bashing them for being small. I mean, they would work perfectly at the scout level as their separate vehicles. I mean, look at them scale with the Bumblebee of that line. They're almost perfect. But yeah, they don't have any features. I suppose you could have Mudflap give Skids a piggyback ride, or you could just have them argue about rapping. I feel like that's something they would do.
Whole lot of bread. Whole lot of bread. One shot to the head.
Bitch, you just on there rapping, Playboy Corey.
Man, you ain't got to say that.
You biting on that man hard.
You know, and people thought the Baku series was ahead of its time to have the green idiot character, and Howard Stern thought that he had something going on with Beetlejuice. No. Michael Bay did it first.
If you dig a 6-foot hole, how deep is that hole?
It's about like 20 feet.
Now, articulation on these two, Skids has a ball joint socket and then a ball joint coming from his head, so it's limited, but it gets the job done. You've got weird shoulders. You can go forward here and then like that much if you fold it up. I don't know why you would do that. You can go back that much, but of course this bumper gets in the way. You got his wrist on this side, his big hand, his Doomfist hand, has a wrist hinge that goes inward, and then you've got ball jointed hips, ball jointed knees, and you've got a ball jointed ankle, and then it can come in as a pivot. So you can really get into, I mean, this is before Siege even, to do a pose like that, which is crazy to think about. And of course he's got, I left this out, he's got a ball jointed swivel here, so you can kind of get the whole crisscross stance thing, or hell, you can even do the "It Be Like That" pose from Baku. I mean, if you can get something going like that.
Damn. It be like that.
But yep, that's Skids. Mudflap, on the other hand, he's got a little bit more here. His wrists are, well, his shoulders are on a ball joint, but they're buried in there underneath this, so you can kind of move these up and out of the way a little bit. This one likes to come off on the left side. He's got a good elbow, that's fine. Well, I can show it over here. He's got a good elbow. And then he's got that hinge there again, and he's got bicep swivel, but it's really hard to get to. He's got ball jointed hips and knees, and then he's got hinged toes, so you can actually have him walk pretty good like that. And then of course he's got a ball jointed head that's just like Skids. So yeah, he's a lot better than Skids in my opinion. I think his kibble is, even though it's everywhere, it's still able to be maneuvered a lot better. And of course, lastly, you can also move these how you want a little bit. They can move a little bit in there. But yeah, not great, but not terrible either. Now to wrap this up, no. These are not the most amazing toys in the world. I wouldn't even say they're that great. But they are cool. I mean, who would have thought this would ever exist in 2009? An ice cream truck that transforms. Not me. Seeing this show up in the movie surprised me as a kid, and when it showed up on toy shelves, oh my god, it blew my mind. As for the controversy, I still don't see it. I think their designs are weird as shit, but really, I fail to see the harm in them. I just wish we could have seen their sacrifice in Dark of the Moon. But anyway, yeah, that wraps up Revenge of the Fallen Randomness. I actually plan on bringing this series back annually because there's plenty more randomness to talk about in this huge line. But now that I'm done, I'm going to dive into some more assorted Transformers reviews. But until then, keep growing your collections. Treebot out. All right, another review for the books. All right, well, wonder what I should do next. Huh, door ring. This is odd.